This is Ed, and welcome back to another edition of Bagel and Booze. And we've hit the month of December, or as we're going to call it, Decem-Beer. Why? Because I'm going to come to you, hopefully, with a bunch more reviews. We've been a little lacking lately. Things been a little busy family life-wise. But we've hit December. Things should hopefully slow down. Could get some reviews in. So what else excuse do I need to go and get some beer, but for a whole month? So what I had tried, hopefully, to have done was to get myself one of those beer type advent calendars, but unfortunately couldn't get a hold of one. Wasn't any around at the beer stores that I stopped by, and here in Delaware we cannot get those shipped to us. So I did the next best thing, and that was to head down to State Line Liquor, pick up a bunch of stuff. Like I need, again, an excuse to stop down at State Line Liquors. So we got some common stuff, we got some not so common stuff, and we're going to try to come to you during the course of the month and give you reviews on these various brews and beers that we had picked up and give you our feedback on it. What else do we do here on Bagel and Booze besides random eat of hops here and there? But we're here to give you some review. So our first beer of the month that we're going to be doing actually comes from my beer haul that I had and hadn't had a chance to drink it yet. And this is going to be actually, we'll just fire up and you can kind of see what we've got going on. And we've got from Left Hand Brewing Company, we've got their Nitro White Russian Stout. Like I said, I've never really had a bad beer out from Left Hand Brewing, so I'm really excited to try this one. They do wonderful things, and White Russians are good, or as the dude calls them, Caucasians. If for those that don't know, the dude meaning the Big Lebowski. Hopefully you should know. Maybe some of you don't, but if you don't, that's who I'm referring to.
Another Caucasian, Gary.
Right, dude.
But in any event, I'm hoping that this kind of lives up to taste. It's got a good mix of stuff that we've got in here. They're staying pretty faithful to it. We've got, a white stout with coffee and vanilla added, and then obviously that nitro is going to give us the nice rich creaminess, and that should mimic out hopefully the flavor of a White Russian. Now, it wouldn't be a Bagel and Booze without a more moment, and we'll give you one quick one off of this. Try to keep them short because we're going to be doing a bunch of this stuff. But the White Russian obviously comes from the Black Russian cocktail. Pardon me. And that, they both obviously share vodka and coffee liqueur. But obviously the addition of the cream makes it the White Russian versus the Black Russian. Black Russians first appeared in about 1949. They're attributed out to come from Belgium, from a bartender named Gustave Tops from the Hotel Metropole in Brussels. And supposedly he made it in honor of the U.S. ambassador to Luxembourg at that time. Well, we get the White Russian, obviously, by adding cream to that. Nobody really knows if the White Russian preceded the Black Russian or the Black Russian kind of came out of the White Russian because people didn't want to have cream in it. No clue. But the first official kind of use of the term Black Russian gets attributed out to November of 1965 when it was first used in the Oakland Tribune when they had published out a recipe for a White Russian, which they dubbed as using 1 ounce each of vodka, cream, and Southern. Now, Southern, I had to figure this one out. This actually comes from Coffee Southern, which was a short-lived coffee liqueur from Southern Comfort. So who knew that Southern Comfort had potential origins into the White Russian? But regardless of whether it's Black Russian, White Russian, Gray Russian, whatever you want to call them, they have no attribution to Russia. Just obviously simply the vodka base in there is what throws it in, just like Russian Imperial Stout isn't really from Russia. It was just attributed to that because of, as we've covered before, England shipping their heavy percent stouts over to the imperialist Russia at that time. So there you go. There's your little more you know moment for tonight. So let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and crack this guy open. I'm going to go ahead and get it poured, and we'll go ahead and get this all set up.
I drink and I know things.
We got the product, we got the beer, and we got that settling. So most stouts that you normally think of are just big, heavy, dark beers, flavorful beers. But in this case, white stout, obviously we're coming in with a more clear, amber, a little fuzzy, hazy tone to it. So I'd say we're kind of settled down a little bit. So let's go ahead and give this bad boy a sip. We do have a nice cloudiness to this. It's not that crystal clear amber that we would get off of some of the ales. So let's go ahead. Got a nice good whiff of the vanilla coming off of this. Decent, you know, the head sets up very nice one here. Not getting any real coffee overtone off of that, but we'll find out. Ooh. There we go. There's my coffee. Didn't smell it, but I taste it. Got the vanilla to it, and that nitro gives that nice creaminess off to this. So it's a little unusual on a taste. I think more so because of the lightness of the stout versus being, you know, a nice heavy dark beer. We got a nice lightness to this, but it definitely comes across very kind of clean. A little bit of a back of the mouth feel that's in there. Trying to think, you know, not really overtone of either the coffee or the vanilla or the cream. It's a nice kind of blend. Got a slight little bit of, I wouldn't even really call it a hoppiness that's off of there. Just can't really quite put my finger on what that kind of afternote is. It's definitely got a heavy mouthful off of it. But yeah, I get the coffee. Get more so the coffee there. Not as much forwardness on the vanilla. But yeah, we'll go ahead. I guess for, you know, our bagel rating. I don't know. It's on the definitely better side. We'll give it a 4. We'll give it a 4 out of 5 off of that. It would probably be better if I didn't have that, whatever, I cannot identify. It's just this slight taste that you get after, you know, on the back of the mouth. If it didn't have that and it was a lot smoother, very easy to drink, we give it a 5 out of 5, but we'll give it a 4 out of 5. It's there, just something in there is just making it miss off the mark. I'm going to attribute it to the white stout versus being, you know, a heavier, darker beer. You know, be interesting. You know, maybe they could do a Black Russian off of it. Obviously, that's not going to work out too well. I thank you for tuning in. I'm going to go ahead and finish this off camera because we still got a lot off of there. But I thank you for tuning in. Welcome to Decem-Beer. We'll go ahead and we'll be sampling back on some other beers. So stay tuned for the month, and we'll be back at you real soon. Thanks, guys. Night.